G'day, Hawks fans, and welcome to the Talking Hawks fan live stream pre-game round one. Footy is just around the corner with, of course, the Tigers and the Blues kicking things off tomorrow night. I think it's 7:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time, and I cannot wait. Footy just about back with the Hawks taking on the Bombers at 3:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time on Sunday afternoon. So we've got to do even more waiting, Hawks fans. But the latest chapter in the Hawthorn-Essendon rivalry set to be written. It's just going to be me for this evening. I'll talk a little bit about why in just a tick, but stick around because there is going to be plenty to talk about, driven largely by you guys. For those that might be new here or might be watching later that haven't really caught up to what Talking Hawks is about, we connect Hawthorn fans from all around the globe, not just to each other, but to the best football club, not only in the country, but in the world. The most successful one in the country since 1960. My goodness me, the Hawks. It mightn't be our year, but let me tell you, if you stick on the bandwagon, there is going to be success right around the corner, let me tell you. And hopefully there is going to be some success. This week, the Bombers, not only do we not like each other, it is a distinct loathing, Hawks fans, as we know. Memories of the Bombers stretch back to even not 5 years ago, not 9 years ago in that round 2 2014 game. Cyril kicking that goal with the Brad Hill tap-on, I think it was, at Marvel Stadium. The Dons, I think, got us the next year with Cale Hooker deciding to be prime Michael Roach for some reason down on the boundary as well. So plenty of things going on. We got Jared, the great man, is in the chat. But Hawks fans, jump into the chat. All your questions will be answered. I've got some things that I want to bring to the table as well. And for the next, we'll say 35 to 40 minutes, we're going to enjoy an absolute ripping Wednesday evening. Of course, brought to you by Talking Hawks. We are across nearly just about everything, guys. So before we get into the big stuff, the self-pampering, if you will, the self-promotion, but all the social medias that you can think of, we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can follow us on all of those where we post frequently. And during the season, Instagram is going to get a big uptick as well. So if you can follow us over there, that would be great. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're currently on Facebook and you can go to YouTube after it's done, why don't you click that subscribe? Almost at 1,100. And let me tell you, we are targeting here at Talking Hawks 1,500 subscribers by the bye. And we can't do it without your help. So click that subscribe button. We would really appreciate it. But the biggest of thank yous across our platforms have to go to the podcast listeners for now 5 of the last 7 weeks on either Apple, Spotify, or Google. We have been in the top 50 sports podcasts in the country. And to tell you that that is overwhelming is an understatement and a half, Hawks fans. And everyone that's gotten around it, from Timmy with his fantastic interviews. We drafted all-time Hawk squads. It's been a lot of fun that we'll be continuing, and I'll talk more about this in just a tick because I want you guys to do the talking in just a little bit. But we cannot thank you enough for the love that the podcast has been getting. It's not just stripping these live streams and chucking them on a podcasting platform. We have got exclusive content. So wherever you get your podcasts, phone, laptop, whatever it may be, through your Alexa, hope it didn't activate in your house as I said that, you can check out Talking Hawks. But again, after we've finished all this stuff, guys, just file it away and we'll get into it. So left Dom's g'day up there a lot, but that's okay, Dom. It's a massive hello to everyone as well. And Kano's done the right thing here. Tuning in from London, let us know where you guys are watching either the game or the live stream from. Would be fantastic. 4:20 a.m. here, mate. I feel your pain. I was getting up to watch the NFL, my mighty Dolphins, which is why I'm wearing the hat. Sticking with the Hawks jersey tonight, but got the Dolphins hat. I was doing it all throughout the NFL season here. And let me tell you, I don't know what I'm more happy about, the fact that footy's around the corner. We just got Jalen Ramsey, but that's not what we're here to talk about as well. We got Perth, Western Australia. Beautiful. Glad to have your company. So glad that the season is back. I am with you. Well and truly, Kerry, my goodness me, it genuinely feels like forever since we've had the Hawks on. So nearly about 5 minutes here. All the welcomings have been done. Let's get into some proper footy conversations. Griffith, I should say. Sorry, Cody. My goodness, I'm sorry, Cody. We've got Brooke here, WA again. Steve-O in Thailand. My goodness. Too many jokes there, Steve-O, and none of them I can say on YouTube. But glad to have your company, my friend, this evening. Dom, good vibes. That's all we bring here on Talking Hawks, mate. And that's why we love having the likes of you and the rest of the fans around. Let's get into it, guys. I want any and all talking points from you. Like I said, I've got some to bring to the table. I'm going to start with one, but I want you guys to flood those comments. Make my job difficult for the next half an hour or so, trying to keep up with everything that you've got to say. But here is going to be my overwhelming point. As Mac just says, here he's from Portugal. But here's going to be my point. On what evidence, and this is genuinely serious, as a footy analyst and a footy quite opinionated person, if you haven't been around here that long, that is what I am. What evidence does anyone have that Essendon are better than us? Like, it's really funny seeing people tip Essendon and not give reasons. Now, I get that this could turn into a media don't know what they're talking about campaign, and that's probably a discussion for another day as I get into a couple of these questions in just a tick. But, when you think of, Sydney beating Gold Coast, you can usually get some reasons, whether you're on Richmond or Carlton for tomorrow night. Generally, you've got some reasons that are good reasons. I genuinely have not listened to one person give me a solid, factual reason that Essendon are better than us. So this isn't going to be your usual Daz pessimism this evening. I know, shock horror. Maybe it's because I've got no one to be grumpy to right now. But let's get into some of your questions. But I've got no reason that the Bombers are better than us at all. There is no data to crunch for round one. True, Dom, but in a very opinionated world, which is, of course, how the media works, you'd think they'd have reasons. They don't. Here we go. Here's Stephen. Butler, Bramble, Nash. 3 doesn't go into 2. I think only one of those plays, Steve-O, and that is going to be Connor Nash. In Smithy and I's match committee, which you haven't seen or listened to, on the podcast. You can check that out. The only spoiler I'll give you for that is we had Nash as the sub. Now, do I genuinely think that's going to happen? Probably not, but my God, it is so hard to get some guys in there. But I think Bramble misses out, honestly, even if Scrimshaw doesn't play. Any news on Scrimmer? The only news that I've got, Brooke, is that he was in the rehab group on Tuesday, so that does make it seem quite unlikely with the depth that we've got at his position. Is it really worth taking that risk? I'm not sure. Con, does Weddle play? I think we're going to see him in that squad that will come out on Friday. I don't think he makes the cut. And Matt spoke to Zane Littlejohn, the VFL coach, which you can check out after you've finished here, of course, in about 30 minutes' time. I think Box Hill's round one team is going to be simply outrageous. But for mine, Weddle doesn't play. Happy to be proven wrong. We love a debutant. We'll talk about that in just a tick. Now, Mac Liam did a fantastic article, which if you haven't checked out, you absolutely do. But first month, I'll get the order wrong, borderline guaranteed, but we've got the Bombers, we've got the Swans, North and Geelong. I actually think I've nailed that. There we go. So that first month is a pretty good month for us. We've already been tested against the best twice with the Cats and the Pies in the preseason, and we'll see how we go. Of course, we've got the Clarko reunion. Steve, I'm with you. No one in that forward line scares me at all. 2 meter Peter does seem to play his best footy against us, a bit like Nick Hind. He's a bit like that as well. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm not seeing a whole lot of danger in that spot. The odds say that they're better, John. Cool. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, odds don't mean much. I mean, I think I'm tipping Carlton, and I think they're about $2.50. Gamble responsibly. This is not gambling advice, nor do we do that on the show. But yeah, unbelievable. Dami, good to have you. One of our favorites. Watched Bombers v Saints practice match. They were very, very ordinary. Now, how much do we take away from practice games? I'm of the opinion that when you play really, really well in a practice game, I don't really take a lot out of it. When you play badly in a practice game, I take a little bit more out of it. And I agree with you. The Dons looked horrid, yes, in poor conditions, but the MCG can offer up some elemental challenges. And the Dons, Brad Scott, I mean, they're going to be a bit tougher around the footy. That's what Brad Scott did to his North Melbourne teams. But, Ajai's tougher than their midfield. I think Warple at the 30 disposal game we saw against the Pies is tougher than the likes of Parrish, Shield, Caldwell, who is a test, same as Ben Hobbs, who I'd like to see play. just because I think Ben Hobbs has got that potential to be one of these guys that Jai and Jimmy Warple will take on in the foreseeable future. Elijah Sardis, the same, who's not playing for the Dons. Maybe Nash to miss out. DGB should get a bench spot. I like your thinking, but the Dons don't have the tall forwards that should worry us, and they don't really have like a Gunston lead-up type that would suit DGB in a matchup way. So I think Frost has to go to Peter Wright because of the reach. I think Jimmy Blank has to go to Peter Wright for that reach. I think Sam Frost has to go to Wiedemann because he is a bit more lead-up style than a contested style player. Does DGB go to Harrison Jones? Maybe. But if I'm picking between Denver and Connor Nash to beat the Dons on Sunday, I think I'm going with Nashy Boy there. Hope Meek will play. Yep, I'm with you. Last year, Draper gave us nightmares, didn't he? But it's the MCG, so should be okay. I wonder if we take that into account, how much the MCG versus Marvel has on the Bombers. I don't have the numbers in front of me, to be honest, but I just get the feeling when I think of good Essendon footy, I mean, we beat them round 1, 2021 at Marvel. Dylan Moore, coming of age game, you could say, with those 3 goals in that third quarter, but they beat us at Marvel last year. Peter Wright played out of his skin. So there we go. Marty, we've got a chance. I think better than a chance at the moment. And if you guys do want to join a tipping comp through ESPN, I'll actually put those codes in the comment section below if you want to join, which will be great. The more the merrier. It's going to be a private league with unlimited entry. So I'll just keep that in mind, and I might talk about it at the end if I don't forget, because that wouldn't be great if I did. Steve-O, there's a big problem. Scrimmer was on Peter Wright in some duels last year, and I love Scrim. And I love how much he's worked on his one-on-one game, but the bloke's called 2 meter Peter for a reason, and Scrim is not that, as much as I wish he was. Expect a big improvement from our midfield this year. Nick, love the optimism. I'd love to know what kind of numbers we think in terms of improvement. The improvement for mine is going to be purely eye test. Numbers and numbers, that's great. You think of the Bombers in the last half of last year were a top 6 clearance team, but meters gained from stoppage, they were bottom 6. So what does that mean? They were winning clearances and going backwards. Means nothing. If we're just not letting the ball come out the front of the contest, and whenever I bring that up, and I sometimes have some people go, what exactly do you mean by that? Watch the 2021 third quarter, Melbourne Bulldogs, and how easy Oliver and Petrarca walked the ball out the front of the stoppage that allowed them to hit inside 50. And if you watch the Oliver goal from about 50 out, is the perfect example of how they were able to just walk the ball out of the front of the stoppage. If the Hawks do that, then the guys like Blank, Frost, and the like Hardwick just don't stand a chance. So as long as we can have a defensive person on the side of the stoppage that is causing Merritt, Parrish, if he does work his way forward, Shield, Caldwell, Perkins, whoever it may be that might be winning a clearance, as long as we can put that player under pressure, I'll back our defense over their forward line any day of the week. Alrighty. Blank has to go to right. I completely agree, Dom. I mucked that up. That's on me. I definitely agree with you. Yep, Con's in the same boat as well. Love it. Thoughts on Fergus Green? Angus, pretty simple. Lock. I mean, he has to play, doesn't he? Like, who on Essendon is going to stop him? Brandon Zirk Thatcher? Because Zach Reed's not playing. James Stewart's not playing. The downside to all of this when I look at Essendon's backline is Mitch Lewis could genuinely have kicked 6 on this defense. I don't like their key backs at all without Zach Reed. I'm a Zach Reed fan as a football fan. As a Hawthorn fan, I'm not, obviously, but as a guy who, and don't tell my missus this, watches probably 6 to 7 full games of footy a weekend because I'm just that level of nuff. I'm a fan of Zach Reed. So the fact that he's not playing 4 to 6 weeks, I think, with a back injury, I mean, Mitch Lewis would have just torn this game apart, which really sucks. Nick, Essendon don't like the MCG. Works for us. We don't like Essendon. Darmy, I think Amon will make a huge difference at the G. I agree with you. He's definitely a designated kicker, is Big Carl, and that number 10 is going to look really, really good swinging onto that left foot. I'm looking forward to it. I know Cody will be as well, and Smithy. Chad, can we run out games this year? Very good question. Peter Burge, the new fitness manager, and I can just hear fellow Talking Hawks alumnus Timmy getting genuinely excited that I've just mentioned his man, Peter Burge. We're going to find out. Can we run games out this year? I'm not sure. What I do know is that we had 8 losses last year in which we led at quarter time. No one else had more than 4. Simply extraordinary. So, yes, we do need to run games out. Last year's game, mate, I don't want to talk about it, frankly. I don't even know why I brought the comment up, Con. Lots of love, lots of respect. But last year's game, I genuinely would put that in one or two of the most frustrating games last year. Carlton definitely up there. I don't really want to relive the losses. So, Cody here. Bombers apparently try to stop teams transitioning from defense to attack easily or quickly. I think our go is to take it on and move it quick through the guts. If we're on, we could run over them. I completely agree, Cody. And there's one man that I'm looking at to do that, and he happens to wear the number 9. I don't see a world where we can get a 6-on-6 in our forward half and not win the majority of those contests. So I'm with you. Run 20, kick 40. That's what the likes of Amon, Scrimshaw, if he plays, but even guys like Sam Frost, if Lockie Bramble plays, all these good things. Leslie, which team will settle down first? I agree with you largely. I think it's actually which team will settle down defensively first. I think there are going to be nerves across the board, but we know with the 4 umpires, there's going to be either more free kicks paid than ever before, but I think there's going to be more free kicks off the ball. And I think the big losers out of all that, maybe apart from fans frustrated, especially watching on TV, who haven't really seen what's going on, I think are defenders. So I think whoever settles down defensively better is going to be the key, the question. And I'm hoping it's us. We do have some maturity down there, whether it's in age, talking Frosty, of course, or experience, Dimmer, all these sorts of things. Well, Lauren, all I'll say is it's that, more value. That's all I can really say, I think. Let's get into it. Does McGuinness go straight to Parrish? No, goes to Merritt. Fabio, in my opinion. Simple as that. Zach Merritt is the only man in that Essendon midfield, and I'd love to be proven wrong if you guys can comment and let me know who else fits this mold, that can win a clearance, take it forward, and hit a target. I'm convinced that Dylan Shield could have won a Brownlow from like 2016 to 2019 if he could kick. He can't. Jai Caldwell hasn't proven himself as an elite ball user yet. Darcy Parish, not a great user by foot. So if we do want to tag, and there's no one on the outside for in my opinion, an Ed Langdon type role for Finn, I think if we're going to lose the game, Zach Merritt's going to have 35, kick, a goal on us and have about 8 score involvements. How do you stop that? Send Finn straight to Zachy Merritt, in my opinion. Kerry, just want us to be competitive and for 4 quarters. I think we should have higher expectations than that this week. I genuinely think that Essendon are the only club, and I think I'll be quoting someone on SEN when I say this, but Essendon are the only team that's told its fans straight up, this is going to be a slow build. All right, well, if they want to build slowly, let's knock them over. Let's knock them over. This is a football club that is in a really bad shape list-wise. They do have some long-term injuries to guys that they need to develop. They're ripe for the picking. Meek to Monster Draper on Sunday. I haven't been so wrong about a player so consistently than I am Sam Draper. So for anyone that watches my YouTube channel, Daz Talks Footy, if you want to check it out, I'm not going to spend 4 minutes gallivanting about my own stuff. If you want to check it out, I'd appreciate it. If you don't want to, you absolutely don't have to. I picked Sam Draper to win their best and fairest last year. And instead, he decided to be more inconsistent than Melbourne Weather and win goal of the year that he didn't deserve. So, yes, I hope Lloyd Meek does, because I just can't figure out Sam Draper as a player. It's as simple as that. Merritt is going to get 35, but I still think we should tag Parrish. Okay, interesting. I like it. I like this differing of opinion. Almost why we do these live streams in the first place, people. I love it. Let me know. McGuinness will blanket Merritt. I love it. I agree. Mac, I think he's spot on. One of my favourite comments so far tonight. The improvement has to come from clearances and forward 50 entries. I agree. But we now have the capacity for two-way running from our mids to help defensively. Do we? Yeah, 100% sure we've got the defensive mids. I wouldn't associate Jimmy Warple, Josh Ward, Connor McDonald, any of these guys. Now, Josh Ward, one of the better defensive runners in the competition. But when you say two-way midfielders or two-way running, I think of guys like Sam Walsh, Touk Miller, Andrew Brayshaw. They're kind of the holy trinity, if you will, of two-way mids. I don't think we've got the mids that stack up to those guys. But, hey, if they want to work hard defensively to spite me, Oh, we'll absolutely do it. Absolutely. Get on Warple. BOG loves playing against the Bombers. I don't have the numbers in front of him, but he's still giving Michael Hurley nightmares, I hope. Cody, I'm with you. Mitch Lewis, I can't imagine how badly he would have done this. My goodness. Kerry Green seems like a very similar type to Gunston. Yeah, agree and disagree. I think he and Gunners, the way they hit up at the footy, very, very similar. I think Fergus Green below his knees, excellent. Footy IQ, excellent. So I can see where you're coming from. He is shorter, Fergus Green, and I think he's a much better pressure player. But hey, that's just me being nitpicky. I don't think you're wrong at all. I could see some similarities. I could see some differences. I think what he brings to that forward line without Mitch Lewis in the team, I think he's going to go underrated maybe until Sunday, and he starts to prove us wrong. And for anyone that's playing fantasy or Supercoach this year, just slide him into your forwards bench. Maybe not on field, because he could be a little bit inconsistent, but for 124K in Supercoach, my goodness. Definitely a top 14 side this year. I'm happy with that, Zach. I know everyone wants to talk about Harley Reid. Cool. I'm looking at Xavier Dersman's brother, Zane, who would be a very good a guy that I'm going to be keeping an eye out this year. Nick Watson, who's got some tricks inside the forward line. I'm not going to make this a draft show as well. And there's also a guy, Cooper Simpson. Just keep an eye out for big Coops this year as well. So we'll see. All right. Now I am going to do, we really need Cozzy to kick straight. Could not agree more. He was very off with his set shots in preseason. Riley couldn't agree more. He leans back, Cozzy, which is a big problem, which is why his foot drags a little bit to the right. And then he fixed that a little bit. And then the new thing that he does is he walks in very hard and then he stops. So on his kicking step, I should say, so when his left foot plants, so he obviously kicks with his right foot. I'm just noticing that when he lands that left foot to go and kick the footy, all of his motion, all of that momentum that he's got, freezes. So he's actually kicking, essentially standing still. It's just, look, I'm an idiot sitting on his couch watching. Okay, so in no means am I trying to tell Cozzy what to do. It's just an observation that I've seen, and I think it's why he hooks the ball left. But fingers crossed he can kick 4 straight, prove me wrong, and I can come on here next week and call myself a dill. Luke Bruce said on the Hawk Talk pod that we should expect them to run out full games this year. Well, as much as I agree, Lauren, and we should be expecting that, I'd be a bit worried if he went on the Hawk Talk pod and said that we wouldn't run games out. But yeah, let's have a look. Riley, most embarrassing loss of last year. I already said it's in my top ones. Carlton, Richmond. I don't like that we're talking about losses a little bit. Jacob, I have a feeling that we will do better than what most people will expect of us. Well, considering no one has us higher than 17th that gets paid by a media organization, it seems, we don't really have to do much to impress a lot of people, I don't think. Not necessarily a bad thing, and hey, we all love it when we can turn around to a journo and go, what was that? Even our own, Nat Edwards, works for afl.com.au and is a Hawthorn girl, Hawthorn woman, I should say, sorry. She picked us for last as well. Come on, Nat, you're better than that. I don't buy into this. We're finishing last. Try telling Sam Mitchell that. Nearly said Tom then. My goodness. Connor McDonald to have a legit breakout game in round 1 and be best on. Cody, I like it. Dylan Moore style last year. Jeez, he looks clean with the footy. The boy from Doveton. I like it. A lot of merit talk. Dylan Shield is a butcher. He absolutely is, Matt. Only a 3-year apprenticeship. He'll be qualified, which is good. Love that for him. Big deal. Sicily kicks a snag. Ooh, I don't mind it. Do you reckon like he did, I think it was Joe Danaher, did he want to high-five him when he kicked it about 75 at the G? Wasn't actually 75, but worked with us. Shannon, not buying that, my friend. The bottom 4, all right, I'm not going to tell you you're explicitly wrong on that, but why last? You can honestly tell me right now, St Kilda, Essendon, and North. All 3 of those clubs are better than us right now? I just struggle to believe. That's all. Do I think we are a top 8 side in 2 years' time? As I think we will be if we continue on the path we are heading with draft pick selections. Well, considering, Zach, that we will be getting Will McCabe, who, in my personal opinion, we need to play forward. We really, really do. Tick, we're going to get another gun midfielder in this draft. Tick, I don't see why not. Con, I'm going to turn your comment into a question. Cam Mackenzie should play. Is he going to be the second debutant? How many debutants do you think we're going to have, Hawks fans? Do you think Fergus Green and Cam Mackenzie play? Does that make 2? Do you have Cooper Stevens in your side? Does that make 3? Comment below, let me know. Just a number if you don't want to go out on a limb and name names. I think Cam Mackenzie, he either play, I don't think he should be the sub. Or if he is the sub, and this is just my opinion, if the sub doesn't get on the field, it shouldn't count as a game. All right, that makes it really simple. We know Connor Downey went through that last year. Poor bugger. I've just skipped over an absolute bunch of comments here, which I apologize, guys. I'm going to scroll back up a little bit. Who's my starting forward 6? Kinner, good question. The starting 6, I think you're just asking for my best 6, and I feel like I'm going to forget someone, but Wingard, I'm not counting Mitch Lewis in my 6 because he's injured. So think of that what you will. But Wingard, Kazitsky, Moore, Bruce, Meek, Fergus Green. So that's my 6. Connor McDonald, either midfield, bench to start. I mean, there's so many rotations these days. But that's kind of where I stand. I think Connor McDonald fits into that 6 beautifully. Looks good against the Pies. Yep, Mackenzie. I mean, you've got to be pretty stiff to not get a game. 20, what do you have? 24 touches, 26 touches? My goodness. When Lewis returns, Green versus Cozzy, who wins? Oh, depending on matchup. We couldn't really play all 4, could we? Meek, Lewis, Cozzy, and Green. I mean, the question kind of becomes then, do you turn Cozzy into a 2021 version of Jeremy Cameron? What does that mean? That means the tallest half-forward flank in history, which is a guy that hits up at the footy, delivers the ball inside 50, because like a lot of guys who struggle with set shots, I think of Bud, Jeremy Cameron himself, these kind of guys who can struggle with the set shot, Cozzy's a beautiful field kick. Entering inside 50, is that an option? Maybe. I think out of those 2, though, I think Lewis and Meek. I think when we're coming up against the likes of Melbourne, Fremantle, could Brisbane swing maybe a 2 ruckman, whether McInerney takes, all the centre bounces and such, and, Hipwood or Danaher takes them all forward. We're probably going to need 2 ruckmen there. Carlton, I know they're not going the 2 rucks against Richmond, but Richmond only play the one in Nankervis anyway. I genuinely think Fergus Green. I think Cozzy. I think we're dropping Cozzy before we're dropping Fergus Green. If the guy we're bringing in is Mitch Lewis, I think Lloyd Meek is going to prove himself to be really important. But we'll wait and see. If Cozzy gets off to a good start, of course you'd keep him. Massive chance for Cozzy to put an early stamp on a return to form against the Essendon defense. Could not agree more. And I do feel for Smithy, who's doing the player reviews this year. Cozzy is going to be interesting. Cody, and a shout out. If you haven't heard this, I'm not going to spoil it. Go have a listen, guys. Very funny about Sis talking about Hodgie finishing, Hodgie thinking we're going to finish last. Nick, I love it. He's not ready. He doesn't have the body to get blokes out of the way yet, and that's okay. That'll come. I like him. I like him a lot, Maxi Ramsden. Here we go. Dummy. I'm not really paying attention to body language. Maybe I should be, but you think he looks really intense? Needs to relax for his set shots. Something to be said in that. You think of maybe Joe Danaher, who, yes, not that great with a drop punt, but around the corner looks very relaxed. Maybe needs to take up more time. I wonder if Cozzy is spending too much and not enough time thinking his way through things. Maybe something to watch on the weekend. I'll keep an eye out on that, Dummy. Thank you. Steve-O, I'd argue that at the moment, Cozzy's not kicking too many of them accurately. Even within 30. I think you've mozzed him there. Do you think, Lauren, do you find it interesting that the club has been super quiet on the Scrimshaw injury? Odd, but not surprising. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's been super quiet. I maybe think that if he's a test, I mean, you don't really need to parade. Scrimmer's not the kind of guy that, and I'm talking non-Hawthorn fans here, so don't come at me for what I'm about to say, but I don't think releasing that Scrimshaw is a test or he might miss a week is going to really cause ripples, or it probably isn't as big a breaking news story as we might think. So maybe that's why, Lauren. But yeah, I agree with you. A little bit odd. that we're keeping it quiet. Hawks fans still guessing, but we'll find out on Friday. Really hope Connor McDonald breaks out round one. I'm with you. Con, can't wait for Ramsden to play. You and me both. Geez, the amount of numbers that I could put on this jumper. My goodness. I thought I was tossing up between 13 and 31, and now I could add 38 to that mix. My goodness. Jason, how's this for a stat? I've been a member of this great club for 53 years and have never seen a wooden spoon, and we won't this year. Well, firstly, Jason, congratulations on 53 years of membership. That is outstanding for a start, and I agree with you. We ain't seeing a wooden spoon this year. My goodness. And it's just, look, I did forget, actually, just before I get to the other point, 4 new players. I kind of forgot Carl Amon was debuting for us and Lloyd Meek. I didn't really include them, but Stephen, I'm with you. If we're counting that, well, not if, we definitely are. I agree with you. 4 technically Hawthorn debutantes. I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, I don't understand this whole we need to tank for Harley Reid. As good as Harley Reid is, and I might make a video on this on my channel, I don't understand the point of lessening the talent and the impact of the guys you've got for a guy you don't have. All right. I know Hodgie at pick 1 was a star, but genuinely, I reckon there are 3 pick 1s in history that were the best players in their draft. So numerically, or statistically, however you want to look at it, it is very unlikely that right now we have got, or Harley at this point, if he is pick 1, he's going to be the best guy with the best career. So why would you limit yourselves now and for the next 8 months for a kid that even at pick 1, you're still guessing on? And I'll probably say 4 because Nick Dacos would be the best in that draft, obviously. Rising star winner. Dami, I think Morrison should be sub. Hasn't played any practice matches and had an interrupted preseason. Needs a few games to ease him back into full match conditioning. Well, my argument there, Dami, would be, wouldn't it be better for him to play a full Box Hill game to get his conditioning back up? Because if he sits on the pine for 2 quarters and he's underdone, we're not bringing on fresh legs then, are we? Which is maybe kind of the point of the sub. That's just my take. I could be wrong. It's happened once or twice. Don't tell them my much better half because she won't let me live that down. Hopefully Warple has a magnificent season. He's so important. And yeah, I agree. I don't really like this rhetoric. Not that I'm suggesting anyone here, but this whole Warple's done, Warple's this, Warple that. I think we need to be hoping he does well. As Hawthorn fans, we need to be wanting him to do well. And I'm firmly on the James Warple train unless things go sideways, which I don't love. Kerry, there's plenty happening at the game on Sunday. 83 reunion, 80s music, etc. I mean, sign me up. My goodness, just for the music alone, let alone the reunion. What a grand final that was. Jacob, would you be keen on Mitch Georgiades this year? Heard that he's been rumoured to go to Hawthorn. Well, yeah, Victoria, a few Victorian clubs. I think West Coast would be pretty remiss of them. Well, and Freo, they need a tall forward as well. Would be remiss not to go after him. I think Port Adelaide are going to want a first-round pick, and we need a first-round pick and then all the draft capital that we can get to ensure that we take Will McCabe, who's going to be a tall forward anyway, and our first-round pick. So, yes, I would be keen on going for Mitch Georgiades. I think it just happens to be the worst year to try to do that. Okay. But talents like him don't come along any day. Could Cozzy go back to centre-half back? Not for us. For me, Cody, not for us. Could somewhere else if that does transpire. But I don't think it's at the Hawks. And I think Emerson Jekker is kind of in that spot as well, which I hate that he's done his hamstring. Yeah, I really do. 6 to 8 weeks, I think. So we hope he's back out. And also, just quickly, shout out to the 2 Ben boys for Box Hill, Kavara, and the other dude's name who I looked at before we started, and I've completely forgotten. I apologize to the other Ben who both did their ACLs at VFL training. So that sucks for Box Hill. Opportunities will open themselves up to other players, of course. But we wish them all the best in their recovery as well as Emerson Jekker. Will Day, if there was a Brownlow for pre-season, well, was he the best Hawk across both those games? I didn't catch as much as the Geelong game as I would have liked, I'll be honest. I was out on the golf course absolutely spraying them everywhere, so didn't get to see a whole lot of that. Where do you play Day? Wing? Yep. Start him on the wing, rotate through the midfield, and then put him to the bench. I'm not a massive fan of Will Day forward. Yes, he did kick 2 goals against the Eagles, but the 2 notes on that were they were both on his left foot, both under pressure, and they were against West Coast. So, maybe hold your horses on that. But I think he is a quality, not quantity kind of guy at the moment. And by that, I mean time on ground. Let's get him around the footy. Dangerous. Bang. There we go. Dom, the last good number 1 pick, Sam Walsh, comes to mind. Best kid out of his draft. Nick Dacos wasn't a number 1 pick. I don't know why I said that at the end. But yeah, I think Walsh was the best out of his draft. I think Rewalt was the best out of his draft. I'm also putting Hodgie there now. Gary Ablett Jr. and Chris Judd, you could argue on pure talent, were better players. But my point with Hodgie is you cannot convince another Hawthorn fan that Hodge was an incorrect call. So I am going to lump him in with those 2 as well. There could be more that you guys tell me about, but when you think of, Bryce Gibbs, Mark Murphy, Lockie Whitfield, these kind of guys that, had good careers or having good careers, but, do you really want to tank for someone of potentially that career? We've had number 1s that didn't work out as much and ones that did better, but I'm firmly in the camp of let's harness the talent we've got rather than talent we don't have. That's just me. Is Ward better suited for the midfield or a wing? I think Josh Ward is better suited at the centre bounce to a wing, Kinner. And then I think he needs to be the winger that goes into the stoppage around the ground. So what does that mean? Very simply, if there is a ball up or a throw in around the ground, Ward needs to become a 4th midfielder at that contest. So you would normally have a boundary side winger and a corridor winger that would be guarding space. I think Josh Ward needs to be the boundary side winger who approaches the contest to get an extra pair of hands around the footy because he's a beautiful extractor, gorgeous by hand, and his footy IQ is just through the roof. And then if it's a Harry Morrison, if it's a Josh Weddle when he plays, whoever it may be, who is the corridor winger, they would hold back, hold their space, and then not let Essendon, in this case, go through the corridor with a clearance and potentially put our defenders under pressure. So I hope that makes sense. Keep him on the outside at a centre bounce, and when there's a stoppage around the ground, I would have him as an extra pair of hands in the contest because he's just so darn clean around the footy. Not all pick 1s are champions. I agree. People agreeing about tanking for the draft, which I've got to be honest, I thought was a controversial opinion. I know it's only a few of you, but I'm glad to see that people are on board in that. Yep, I think it's more damaging to the player group. Couldn't agree more. If Meek is dominant, do we drop Reeves? I don't think so. I think we need to give the big noodle as much time as he needs to come along. Ruckman that tall and that good in the tap work department as Ned Reeves is and showed last year, had one of the better centre bounce attendance to clear to hit out to advantage ratios. I don't even think I've said that right. Let me start that again. He was one of the best centre bounce hit out to advantage ruckman. There we go. Got it out properly. In the competition last year, top 8 in that stat. I think he was 6th. So let's let him do his thing. So no, I think even if Meek is dominant around the ground or at the top of the goal square, I think Noodle stays in the side every week that he's fit. Mitchell has invested a lot into Jimmy Warple. Yep, he's coming in 2023. Couldn't agree more. Ben De Bolfo, I hope I've pronounced that right, did their ACL. So a massive shout out to them. And sorry to Ben, not only have I forgotten your name, I've probably butchered it as well. So I hope we can get you on Talking Hawks to have a chat, mate, because I owe you after that one. Spot on. Melbourne back in the late 2000s are a prime example. I'm not here to pot blokes, but I wink might agree with you. Cody, Will Day was my Supercoach pod until Yo went down. Well, I've got Will Day in keeper and in redraft in my 2 leagues there. So I'm good both ways. Not in my classic team at the moment, Will Day, but he is a very good option until Yo went down. I'd like both. I would play both Meek and Reeves, Spin Doctor. I agree with you, and so does everyone else. I think Nick has been on this from the start. Day equals James Hird, which I love. Love. Tyler Smith, when will Brockman play? I think he needs to play a month of VFL footy. This is a guy that's had injuries, twins, and an interrupted preseason. Can we just let the poor bugger get settled into footy? I think. So if I had to put, maybe a fake dollar on it, Tyler, not to you personally, but just to answer your comment, I don't think we see him before the bye. I think Fergus Green is the starting Luke Bruce forward pocket partner. I think Sam Butler is next in line there. And then I think Brocky brings up the rear there with guys like Jack O'Sullivan who could come in and do a job as well. Winging brings confidence. I'm genuinely surprised that so many of you agree with my draft thing, by the way. Not that I'm trying to lay any credit here, but with the amount of Hawthorn should tank comments that I've seen, whether they're from Hawthorn fans or not, I'm just genuinely blown away. That's all. Nick here, 17-11 to 10-4. I'd love it if we could kick that straight. The problem that we've got, Nick, is that equals 113. So we might need an extra goal there by the Hawks. Maybe Cam McKenzie kicks his debut goal in his debut game. Great youngster. Warps has had every chance. I agree. We've just hit the 40-minute mark, guys, so we're going to be wrapping this up very shortly. Not quite yet. Don't disappear just yet. But we are going to get to the final little bit of the live stream here and a bit of the tradition that we're trying to bring into the Talking Hawks live streams, as we're going to be doing these once a week, and I'll explain why in just a tick, is we kind of finish off with the last sort of 4 or 5 minutes here as we head up towards 45 minutes in the live stream. Is I want you guys to just ask questions, give us your tips, all these things, and my explanations now stop. So give me as many questions as you can in the next sort of 5 minutes. I'm going to answer them with no explanation now because we're going to quick fire through these. Give me your tips as well. Con has gone Hawks by 4 goals. Love it. Whether you think the best position Impey should play, halfback. I really wanted to explain that. I disagree. Let's be honest, I disagree. I don't see how Essendon are better than us right now. I just explained myself. Damn it. Dom, couple of goals. Love it. Riley, Hawthorn by 9. Excellent. Excellent. For those that are on YouTube, about 10, 15 minutes after I finish up here, I'll put the link for the footy tips underneath with the password as well. I keep it as a private group because too many bots show up in public groups now. Kinner, appreciate the love, mate, and appreciate the margin as well. Hawks by 21, Hawks by 22. I've only seen one person say the Bombers, or technically that will probably lose. Tyler, why would you do this to me, my man? I can't. We as fans cannot go through 6 months of waiting, be losing to the Bombers, and then have a goal after the siren. Our hearts would give out. Would genuinely give out. But if there was one man to do it, you can't convince me that Luke Bruce would not be the best man for the job. Con, 4 goals. Love it. Love everything about it. Hawks by 15. Chris, throwing you under the bus here, but I don't think the Talls are going to kick enough goals. If that helps. Riley, I'm with you. Hawks, Abs, Peter Wright is playing. To be fair, Jimmy Blank, I think, was playing his second game, so he's got a bit more experience who should play on him. Jacob, couldn't agree more. You've been one of the best tonight, Jacob. I've loved your work tonight, as I have by everyone who has commented tonight. Really appreciate you jumping on. And I just want to say quickly, the reason that I am solo and it won't be a traditional thing throughout the year, I appreciate all the love of everyone in the comments. I don't really display the ones that pump me up too much. My head's big enough, guys. I don't need to display it on a screen. But I was going to have the great man Mitch on with me tonight, who does all of our amazing social media graphics. For those that saw on Facebook or Twitter, the fantastic Jai, Cam McKenzie, Jimmy Warple posts, the thumbnail that'll be on this video by the time we finish. All these magnificent things. He and his beautiful partner, Kayla, have just experienced a personal loss during the week, so he couldn't jump on with us tonight. So, Mitch, from all the Talking Hawks family here, mate, we wish you and Kayla all the best throughout the week. It's a difficult time for anyone, so all the love from Talking Hawks goes to you and the family, my friend, and hopefully you can jump on with us during the week as well. Great man, does great work, Mitch himself, so credit to him as well. All right. This might be where we finish things tonight in terms of big questions. I might go through a couple of comments before we finish off. But Hawthorn fans, Lauren, one man from the Hawks list, kicking for your life, 40 metres out, directly in front. Who are you taking? Not Mitch Lewis. No, Luke Bruce. For me, because if I'm going to get hurt, well, in this case, permanently hurt by someone I love. So, as Dennis Cometti would say, I'd pick my mum because at least she'd care, but I can't do that. Punky Bruce for mine. What a man. Boy, we're going to miss him. Rough. Can I pick which year Ruff takes that kick? Because if it's 2010, I am running the other direction than Ruff. Dylan Moore, great pick. My man as well. Don't underestimate Connor McDonald in this little debate here either. Anyone who watched that set shot against Port, oh my. But we're going to wrap it up. Hawks fans, Lauren's gone, Dylan Moore as well. So what a start and finish point that is. Thank you so much to everyone that has jumped on this evening, the solo Talking Hawks live stream, but never alone when we've got the best fans of the best football club in the world joining. Thank you so much to everyone. All your social medias, make sure you check out Talking Hawks for the latest news, updates, stories, videos, podcasts, all those good things. Whether you're on Apple, Spotify, or Google, give us a like, give us a follow, 5-star review. We're going to be reading those 5-star reviews out, so we're going to give you the shout out that you absolutely deserve. Alrighty. I love Chris here, not Frosty. Beautiful. I agree with you. He could generally kick it over his head, Frosty, and I love the great man. What else do we have to do? YouTube, if you haven't subscribed and you're on YouTube right now, click that subscribe button. We're aiming for 1,500 before the end of the year. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Hope you enjoyed your long weekend as well that we've just celebrated, if you're in Victoria. Of course, don't think the rest of the country was lucky enough to have Labor Day, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope you can catch us for our content throughout the rest of the week. I'm going to be sitting down with Smithy tomorrow night, and we're going to be dissecting any and all team announcements. We're going to talk about the Bombers at length, how we can shut them down, and any and all Hawthorn news. And we might even get some questions from you guys that we weren't able to answer in the live stream. So I hope you can catch that on all your podcasting platforms. We hope you enjoy your weekend, guys. We hope you enjoy the game. Whether you're watching it on TV, whether it's 4:20 a.m. in London or it's 3:20 p.m. here on Australian Eastern Standard Time, we are hoping to kick off 2023 with a win. But here at Talking Hawks, we already have because of you amazing people. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. We will catch you basically every day now that footy has started again. Hope we can catch you in the next live stream. Take care, guys. But most of all, go the Hawks.